All right, welcome back, Banshees. We have a very special episode of Base Hits and Banter here. I'm with my co-host today. You might recognize her as not Haley McClenny. I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, my name is Montana Fouts. Yes, sorry, I'm not Halo today, but I may run faster, probably not. But
I think that we can maybe get a bet going and we can see if that works out in Montana's favor or not. But super, super excited to have Montana here today co-hosting Base Hits and Banter. And we're also, you can see, not in our normal environment. We are in the softball capital of the world, Oklahoma City. And big stuff happening here today. Do you want to tell the people?
huge stuff. So you're looking at Devon Park.
Let's go to a place where futures are built. In the moment. In the box. In the circle. In the strike. Out there where competition breeds courage. And integrity looks like this. Where the mentality that future career success demands is tested and leadership is forged. Through passion, pressure, sacrifice, determination, work ethic, teamwork, failure, and victory. Where relationships make waves. Let's show up, because the ones making moves on the field are the ones bringing results off the field too. This is where grit meets success, where history meets legacy. Let's go to the place where leaders are made. Welcome to the softball capital of the world. Welcome to Devon Park.
Today is an exciting day, I think, for the city of Oklahoma City, certainly for USA Softball, the state of Oklahoma, and for the employees of Devon Energy. You know, the first question you may ask is why do this? Well, I can tell you that one of the things that we looked at when we look at opportunities like this, it's not about ego. That's not who our company is. We want to make sure that we, whatever we do in the community aligns with the values that we have, and how we can support the universities, support the communities, support the state, support the people of the state. And we think this aligns perfectly with us.
Such exciting news for the sport, for women, for USA Softball. And on that note, I'd like to invite up the Executive Director of USA Softball, Craig Kress.
When Devon stepped up to the plate, we knew it was a natural fit. Their values of integrity, relationships, and results resonate deeply with USA Softball's mission in empowering women through leadership roles within the sport. We're proud Devon Park is where Olympic trials will be held for the women's national team and are excited to gear up for the LA 2028 Olympic Games. Devon Park will see many trophies raised, many tears shed, and create countless unimaginable experiences. We are so thankful for this partnership and excited to create lifetime memories here at Devon Park.
Today is an exciting day. I work every day to develop and empower young female athletes, and it warms my heart to hear so many others with the same kind of passion, especially Devon Energy today. The best part of my job is being part of developing leaders. There are three things every one of my athletes can expect from me. Tough love, which is tough sometimes. Compassion, because of the tough love. And life lessons. One of the life lessons I communicate is how to stand up for yourselves and advocate. And our team has the freedom to do that. Once they learn how to be tough and stand their ground, they'll see that their voice can make a difference. It's incredible how local companies are stepping up to support softball. It sends a strong message to our young athletes. They are worth it, to have confidence in their future, and that we recognize the positive recognition softball continues to bring to this state.
I'm just so grateful for where we are today. Thank you so much, Rick, and to Devon Energy for your commitment to women. Thank you, USA Softball, for all the people involved. There's so many people that make this happen for little young girls all over not just the country, but the world that will come play in this amazing environment in Devon Park. And
we're really excited. They're investing in us, in softball, in the future of women's sports, and they're pulling out all the stops. We're out here celebrating with them, bringing me and Montana together for this special episode, and yeah, so that's why we're out here, and we're still going to talk all things softball. We wanted to make sure that you guys, knew what was coming at you. So, Montana, did you get to watch any softball this past weekend?
Watched a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
I had to watch my Tide play a little bit.
Of course.
SEC's always on.
Yeah.
But, keeping up with the times.
Yeah.
It's always on the TV.
You had a little rivalry going this weekend down there in Auburn. So how do you feel like the weekend went? I know it's rough. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a little rough. I mean, it was Iron Bowl weekend of softball. So, of course, it was on. I feel like both teams were competitive, resilient in all ways. So, just good softball. It's always good to watch good softball.
Yeah, totally. And I think that being in Oklahoma right now, there was something big that happened in Norman. Kind of made a little bit of history. Oklahoma State came up to Norman and said, we're going to take this series and we're going to go back home. So, first time ever in the history of the Big 12 that Oklahoma has lost a Big 12 series at home. I don't know what else to say.
I don't know what else to say about that. Yeah. Good. I mean, again, good softball.
Yeah.
Not really can't complain about that too much.
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of offense. I think we saw just like you said about Auburn, Alabama, like competitive and kind of unpredictable. I don't feel like anybody went into the weekend, especially with these rivalries, like expecting one thing or another, and it just kind of played out. And I thought that was really fun to watch. And also just the story this year, obviously Oklahoma going for 4th national championship in a row. So anytime we see them lose, I feel like people are still kind of shocked. Do you feel that way?
I think so. I think it just speaks on how well softball's growing, and you just can't get too complacent. Not that they are, but every team that you play every weekend is going to be good and come out and give you their A game, especially when you're 3-time national champions. People are always going to be going against you in any type of way. Yeah,
I think you're right. And I think one thing that I notice is that Oklahoma is always going to be a scary team, right? They've proven that. They've proven it 3 times in a row. And they might have lost a few more times this year, but I don't think that counts them out of the national championship. What do you think?
I would say anybody that's won 3 times in a row is probably like, this means nothing. They're just going to take it as like a chip on their shoulder, I would assume.
Yeah.
They're just going to say, you know what, we've been through this, and just kind of build onto that. So I wouldn't really count them out for anything. Yeah,
that's for sure. And we have this weekend coming up, we got the Big 12 conference tournament happening here at Devon Park. And I think it could be cool to see how all that goes down after this weekend. But there were some other really, one series that stuck out to me this weekend was A&M in Florida. I had no idea what to expect, and then Florida swept them. They just went in and they swept them.
They took it.
They scored so many runs, and
on top of it.
Yeah, they were good games. Even in the 11-3 loss, I thought that it was still like before. It blew open, it was still like anybody's ball game. And I feel like we've seen that a lot this year in college softball, is that any game is anybody's game. And I, like you said, kind of is a testament to the growth of the game and where we're at with, even the dominant teams are losing. So I'm excited. Do you have anything from this weekend that really stood out to you, obviously, other than the Tide?
Yeah, that was definitely my team to watch this weekend.
Yeah.
I was going to point out Florida just because I feel like they've been kind of just all over the place as far as like traveling, playing different teams.
Yeah, true.
I feel like they really settled in and just got kind of on all scales of things, busted it open this past weekend. Yeah, especially giving up a good chunk of, giving up 8 runs to A&M and still pulling it out. Yeah. That's when you're like, okay, things are kind of working. Yeah, that speaks a lot. Yeah. Especially when the SEC and you're playing good teams like that. That speaks a lot. 11 runs against anybody is quite a win. Oh my gosh, seriously. So, and Halo and I talked about this last week, is that Bama, the SEC tournament is in Auburn, so they kind of got a little dress rehearsal. So the Tide, they're going to go in there this week and be like, we're just here. Just to warm up. Yeah, we're just here. Tournament starts, and see if they could take it to them. So we've got a lot coming up with the conference tournaments to start this week. Big 12 will be here. What do you think, coming from just recently graduated, what is your mindset going into the college conference tournaments? I feel like anything postseason, you have to have a mindset of, so what? Whatever happened in the past is just, we're going to leave it back there. and we're going to take one game at a time because you really never know. I mean, even if you got swept, like I'm sure with Texas A&M and Florida, like if they see each other, Texas A&M is going to act like they have the chip on their shoulder, and Florida's going to just try to keep doing what they're doing. But it's just hard to beat people that many times.
Yeah,
so I just think they're going in with a new clean slate. That's what everybody's going to do.
I love that. I can't believe we're already here in postseason. I feel like it was just opening weekend, and now we're here, and I think it's going to make for a really, really exciting postseason. People are starting to talk like, okay, who do you think's going to win? And I feel like, I don't know.
I don't know.
And I like that feeling.
Yeah, I like not knowing.
Yeah.
It's going to be good softball.
Yeah. It's going to be competitive. It's going to be exciting. And we have a lot to look forward to. Especially, I think, the conference tournaments will give us a good taste of what to expect come regionals starting. So we just want to take a second. I know you guys can see we're obviously dressed to just top tier. Okay. So we want to say thank you to USASoftballStore.com for dressing us. Look at this. We're just a beautiful red Team USA. I've got USA Softball here representing here at Devon Park in Oklahoma City. And if you guys want to look like us, which, I mean, it's a good idea, you can use code BHB15 for 15% off your entire purchase at USASoftballStore.com. And let us know. This is one of my favorites. You see Haley McClenny in her softball capital of the world sweatshirt literally every single day. So go ahead and check it out.
Haley.
This is Montana.
My name's not Haley.
Montana Fouts, center fielder.
That's me.
But this is a good time to transition into our Banty balance. We will talk a little mental health. So I'm super excited to get your insight, Montana, on this topic. This week we're talking about staying present in the game. And I think that is a different answer for everybody, right? Like you have a hitter, you have a pitcher, everybody across the board could have something different. So what are some things that you feel like help you stay present in any given game?
I feel like it's kind of fluctuated throughout my career a little bit. I feel like towards the end, it was more of like being present in each pitch and not looking at it as like a whole game. Before each inning, it would be like a separate game, like 7 separate games. And then in the inning, it's just winning each pitch.
Yeah.
Obviously, it takes a little bit more out of you, but I just felt like it made each pitch something that I was chasing after instead of just kind of, because the games are long and they're obviously really hard. And whenever you're playing so many different games, it can get easy to just get lost. So I feel like once you just look at it one pitch at a time, which I know it's easier said than done.
Right.
And I'm sure it's that way with every aspect of the game. But once you can just be like, all right, I'm going to stay locked in for this pitch, because you can see how many other games on here have just changed within one pitch.
So true. Yeah.
So you have to stay locked in for each one.
Yeah, I think that's great. And it's funny, I was just having this conversation that after a softball game, you're like drained. And you could get, like as an infielder, for example, I could go a whole game and get 0 plays and be just as exhausted as if I had gotten 12 plays in the game. And I think like what you're saying is that your attention has to be on every single pitch. Like you're throwing every single pitch, or if I'm at third, I'm thinking every pitch out of your hand could come to me. And so like staying locked in, I think I love what you're saying about like bite-sized pieces, right? And for me, like as an infielder, feeling that same way, like, okay, I'm going to, the catcher's throwing the ball back to the pitcher, I'm going to take a second. And then when you get your sign, okay, now I'm ready for this pitch, right? And then in the box, I think what makes it challenging is like, say you get down, do you feel like if you get down in the count or anything, do you feel like you have to maybe try harder, or do you feel like you do the same routine? Like, how does that affect you if you feel like maybe the at-bat's not going the way you want it to go?
Well, what I was thinking about was just if you don't really want to get too high or too low. So when you take it pitch by pitch, even in an at-bat, like you can't be worried about the pitch before that, and you don't want to get too far ahead. So that's when really each pitch you're setting up for the next one, because if you're thinking, all right, well, I'm behind 2-0 right now, like I'm going to throw a strike here, and then I'll do this. Well, you can't say, well, then, because you truly never know what's going to happen. Yeah. So a 2-1 count's different than 3-0, and it can go on and on. So I think you don't want to get too far behind or too far ahead. So you really, truly have to say, you know what, I don't care what's happened. I'm not going to be trying to guess what I'm about to do, because you truly never know. So I think that really helps just stay locked in on the pitch.
I love that. Yeah, because you don't know. You're like, if I end up here, well, you don't know if you're going to end up there based on how this pitch goes. And I think that as a hitter, too, like, something that I've had to learn in my career is how to become a good 2-strike hitter, because I think we have a tendency as hitters when we get 2 strikes, especially if you're facing a Montana Fouts or someone of that caliber, where you're like, I don't want to get there, but feeling still like I still just have to attack the pitch that's coming at me, right? It could be a strike. It could be a ball. I could foul it off. Anything could happen. So I think I relate to that in making sure that it's pitch by pitch, no matter, like, she could have thrown me a strike this last pitch and she could throw me a ball this next one. Like, just making sure that you find a way to stay locked in without draining yourself mentally. Like, I like to step back, like you, when you walk back and do your thing and all that do you feel like that helps you stay present after you get the ball back from the catcher?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I feel like choosing people on the field where I don't want to say have more of a connection with, but like, you know what, this is what I need, and you kind of have that communication before. There's been somebody on every team where it's like I just look at them before each one, and just that kind of helps clean slate. So like you said with the counts and stuff, I feel like the more I was worried about, like, I can't do this or I don't need to get to this. If it's 2-0, I mean, you know as well as anybody else, like as a hitter, I mean, you don't intentionally pop up or you don't intentionally hit a ground ball.
Right.
So sometimes we get ahead of ourselves. It's like, I got to strike everybody out.
Yeah.
But in reality, an out's an out. So, and I've had plenty of ground balls on 3-0 counts where, you know, obviously they wanted to get a hit and it just turned out in my favor. And nobody cares that it was a 3-0 count.
Right. Wow. That's such a good point. Staying present. It's tough. It's a mental game. That's what I think anybody who's played the sport knows. It's pretty mental. Like physical, especially throwing a full 7. But man, after the game, you're like, wow, I just went through it. But I think that's so awesome. It's nice to get like the inside. How does it work? Because you see, like, watching you throw, like, you're so composed and so passionate and so into the game that people don't maybe realize all the bits and pieces that go into making it that way. So I just love that.
Definitely, I would consider it way more mental than physical.
Totally.
Just because, I mean, it doesn't matter how great you are physically, but if you mentally aren't able to, like, keep up with it, then it doesn't matter. So
true. I've noticed that playing games where I may be feeling a little under the weather or something, where I'm like, wow, I'm having a great game because I'm just kind of letting everything go. I'm not overthinking anything, not feeling like you got to do this. It's like, come on, body, we can do this. Like, let's just get through it, you know? But yeah, great topic. Staying present, so important. You guys know the game is so mental. So finding your way, right? Like finding what makes the most sense to you, having those routines. I think Halo and I have talked a lot throughout the course of the podcast, like having a routine, having something you can stick to kind of bring you back to earth, ground you a little bit. But let's talk a little bit about what's coming up with the HPP. All right, we've got a beautiful, glamorous Hawaii HPP coming up this Sunday, May 11th, and then following that we'll be in Houston, Texas on May 19th. You can check out hpp.usasoftball.com for more information on your identifiers and just the HPP in general. What's going on this weekend? We already talked a little bit about the conference tournaments. And like we said, Big 12 is going to be here. But, man, did you see the top 26 list come out this past week? Were there any surprises for you? Were there anything where you're like, oh, I'm not seeing this name or seeing that name? What came up for you when you saw that list?
Just a lot of great softball players, to be honest. I feel like it's going to be really hard to choose. I feel like it is every year.
Yeah.
But you make it so far, and like you said, like the season goes by so fast, and the games go by so fast, where it's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's time for this to even come out.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a really tough decision for whoever has to make that. And I'm glad that I'm not the one that's doing it.
Like, you guys have your fun. We'll just see it when it comes out.
I'll be sitting right here at Devon Park.
Yeah, at Devon Park. We're going to be hanging out here when it comes out. Me and Haley McClenny. But anyway, I think that list it was cool to see. I know 26 and 25 is not that different, but I think that just shows, like, this year is crazy, like the talent. And I really love seeing, obviously I'm a little biased, but I really love seeing like a mid-major name on there. Like I love seeing a Carly Spade out there. She just hit her 100th career home run. That is so many home runs. That's a second. The second person of all time in all of college softball history to hit 100 home runs. And Jocelyn just did only a couple of years ago. So the game is just, man, I just love seeing that, because coming from a big, huge powerhouse or a little baby school, hitting the ball out of the park 100 times, it's so hard.
Hitting a softball is hard no matter where you're at or who you play for.
It's so hard. So I love to see that. It's exciting to see that some of the Big 12 players that are going to be playing here at Devon Park this this week. It's cool. It's really cool to see these names. Really cool to see who will match up and where we can go. Because again, I don't know who it could be. Truly.
Good luck to whoever's choosing this.
Yes, we're supporting you all the way. But Montana, thank you for co-hosting with me.
Of course, and Haley.
Oh my God,
again.
I'm so sorry.
Yes.
Roll Tide.
No, Roll Tide, of course. Yes, I know it gets confused.
It does. It does.
But no, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're really excited. We've got some special guests that might be related to where we're at today coming up. So stay tuned, and we'll catch you next time.
Okay, you guys, we are here with another great episode of Base Hits and Banter, obviously. I have two very special guests. We have a very exciting news happening in the softball capital of the world, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So, ladies, tell the bantees, that's our fans, who you are.
All right. My name is Tana, Cashion. I'm the EVP of HR and Administration for Devon Energy.
Hi, I'm Cathy, Lebsack, Vice President of HR for Devon Energy.
All right, and that's what we're talking about. So let's talk a little bit about Devon Energy. What is it? What's going on right now in Oklahoma City? Tell us why you're here and what's happening right now.
Well, today we are so excited because there is the announcement of Devon Park. And so this is a partnership with USA Softball, and we could not be more excited to be making this investment in women's sports. It's something that we have thought a lot about as a company, and we have a number of community engagements, and it spans from STEM education to community development to arts, and it's a 50-year program, and something that we launched about 18 months ago or so. It's called Sports Labs.
Cool.
And so it's a partnership with OU, OSU, Tulsa, the Thunder, and it's getting kids engaged in sports. And when we learned about this opportunity, it was a way to dial up our investments in women in sports. And so we just couldn't be more excited to be here today and be a part of this.
That's so cool. I love to hear that because it's not so much just investing in this stadium. It's investing in kids and youth and sports and women and things like this. We've always talked about having the investment at a younger age because then you see the growth and you see the development. So that's, you talk about your program that you guys have been working on as a company, is where does the inspiration come from? Do you guys have sports backgrounds? Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. So I grew up playing softball, started at the age of 3 and played all the way through college, and it is something that taught me so many leadership capabilities, taught me a work ethic that I can be proud of, and taught me how to be a great teammate. And those are things that are so important when it comes to working in an environment that encourages those types of attributes. And so I love what sports did for me personally, and working at a company that's willing to invest in women and sports and just invest in kids to learn that science, the technology of sports and make that connection for them is something I'm very proud of.
Yeah, that's amazing. And what about your background?
My background is in soccer, and so same thing. I started when I was maybe kindergarten or so, and didn't get to the collegiate level, but did play through high school, and it was a big part of growing up. I was a goalie, and so there was lots of ups and downs with all of that, and just really foundational skills for business. And so whether it be teamwork, or whether it be learning how to lose, or whether it be just having an off day and needing to push through, really needing to understand how to show up for your team. All of those things are many of the reasons why we think that investing in women's sports is a direct connection to how women can be successful in business. And there's lots of industries just like ours that we want to see more women in business and in our industry, and so this is an investment towards that.
I love that. I'm glad you said that because I wanted to ask the question about the industry. This type of industry you see is probably a little more male dominated.
For sure.
So entering into something like this can be maybe a little intimidating as a young girl who's like, I'm actually really interested in science, actually really interested in things like this, but I don't see a lot of women that maybe can show me the way or can lead the way. So you guys are working in this field right now. What are some things that you feel like you've learned that you can because of this partnership, because of things that are involved with the youth, what are some things that you've learned that you can maybe share that girls can look up to?
It's a great question. I'll tell you what.
There's so much. I mean, that's a huge, complex question. But we think getting to girls at a younger age, showing them representation at companies like Devon, to show them that there are opportunities for them, and to stay focused on what some of their career goals are, even at that young age, to just go ahead and sign up for that next science class. Go ahead and stay in that engineering class that is more likely to be encouraged for males than females. And so we are hoping, by showing such a big investment in a very visible way, that it will encourage girls to say, I could do that. Because they're going to see that companies like Devon and people in our industry are willing to invest. So I think it shows it from so many different ways that we're interested in that, and we do want them to see representation, that there are people like them, who look like them, who played sports, who had interest in arts. I mean, yes, we're talking a lot about sports today, but there are so many other pieces of what we think build good skills to be successful in a career. And we just hope that this visible investment shows that they can have an opportunity at a place like Devon in the future.
I love that, and I think what's cool is that people know this is softball capital of the world, right? This has been Hall of Fame Stadium for as long as most softball players can remember. So hearing something new coming in, something new can be a little scary. Change can be wild, right? But listening to you guys talk about where this partnership comes from, I think the softball world will welcome you with open arms, because this is our home, right? So seeing the signage, seeing everything that's happening, and knowing that it's coming from a place of the investment is so huge, and just like the feeling that comes behind it. You guys have sports backgrounds. You know everything that the girls in sports now are going through and dealing with. So seeing that, I mean, from my perspective, is huge, but knowing that it's coming from that place, I think, is so special. So is there anything that you guys want to add about, you talked about where you come from, your background in sports. Is there anything you want to add about kind of like what you guys do now in your work life, like talking about getting girls into these industries? What are some things that you guys actually do in your day-to-day in your work life? Would love to know some more about that.
Super good question. It's every day. Mm-hmm. It's understanding how do we make sure that everybody is really showing up and able to be their very best contributor.
I love that.
Their very best contributor that they can every day at Devon. That's how I look at a big part of our jobs. And so whether it's they need more training, or they need to have a mentor that helps give them confidence, or they need to have somebody that understands maybe a hurdle that's in front of them, to really be somebody who's in it with them and a partner for every member of the team to be successful.
That's awesome.
So that's what a big part of what we think about every day when it comes to people at Devon, and shows up here too.
That's awesome. Do you have anything to add to that?
That was such a perfect answer, and it really represents the culture of Devon, the way that we invest in each other, and from mentoring, from trying to create the right environments where people can be creative or innovative, for people to succeed. That really just talks a lot about the Devon culture that I'm super proud of.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, and it's funny because you say these things, and that's what you hear about good teams, right? Yeah. Teams that win on the field, on the court, wherever they're playing, is because of cultures like this. So it sounds like this is just such a beautiful marriage of Devon and USA Softball and just beyond and beyond. So I want to thank you guys so much for taking the time to explain to me and to our bantees what this relationship means for the future, and that we can see you. I mean, we're looking out right now. Yep. This is about to be on the screen of millions and millions of people that tune in for the Women's College World Series. So I'm so excited that we can announce this with the podcast and that people can see and understand where this relationship is coming from. So I'm grateful. It was great chatting with you guys. And
thank you for the opportunity.
Oh my gosh.
Loved it.
Yes. I'm so happy to be here, you guys. And we're going to go down to the old Devon Park kickoff party right now. And we'll see you guys. Yeah, they got the music going for us. So we'll see you guys later.
Team USA has brought me opportunities that I never thought would happen before. and super humbled to be able to represent my country.
There's so much talent in the United States playing softball right now, and we want to see the game continue to grow and prosper and develop.
I want to develop not just men, but women's softball as well.
I want to see more girls like me playing this sport.
I just hope one day that I could be somewhat mentioned like a Natasha Watley to help this game.
I just remember like watching everyone like in the Olympics, like, and you guys just representing this country. And for me playing USA softball, like I just want to do the same.